Howdy, I'm here with Ethan. He took first place at today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament. Ethan, what are you running?
I'm running my favorite Cyberse deck, Salamangreat.
And why are you running that?
I just was playing a lot of Control, as you saw from my last two deck profile videos. I was kind of getting bored, so I'm like, I want to play a combo deck that I know and I appreciate. And a lot of the decks I'm looking at, I was in a rush to get here. I was like, you know what? Salamangreats are really awesome. Like, I don't know, mechanical animals is super sick design, and I kind of know how to play them because a couple people are locals play them, and that's one of the decks I learned to play the game on. So I decided to whip it out.
All right, let's see what you got.
So to start the Salamangreat lineup, 1 Gazelle. Wish it was at 2. I think 2 would be the perfect ratio to run this card. I don't think 3 would be my ideal, just because it's really mining that is the big resolver for it. So it's a really good card when it comes up. Triple Spinny, I've seen people cut this to 2 recently. I could definitely see the reasoning behind it, but at the same time, just this being a 1-card starter by just linking off and then using its effect is really good. So I couldn't really pass that up. The 2 Jaguar, this is pretty standard. Really good card. I found myself not having the Salamangreat link a lot after doing a lot of my final board. So there was times where it was kind of dead, but when it came up, it was just huge. So, and it's one of your only level 4s to make your rank 4s. 2 Foxy. Now this card is probably my favorite Salamangreat card to resolve in the deck, just because I love excavating. And a lot of times you are hitting those salad names. If this is the only card I'm considering bumping up to 3 and maybe spinning to 2, but at the same time, he doesn't have the same. The special summon from grave, he has a lot more restrictions on because you need to have a face up and then discard a Salamangreat card. So if you have a spinny in hand, this card's great in the graveyard because you already have your Sanctuary. But burst effect's great. Need this for this local specifically. This local is very back row heavy. I'm part of the problem, so I know. Miles wasn't here today, but it still came up. This allows me to. The fact that this triggers off any summon of Salamangreat card, whether normal or special, allows me to get it off quite often. Plus, the effect to target a back row that's set and not have it be activated for the rest of the turn is really huge, especially when a lot of decks search their 1 power trap. So it comes up a lot. And the 1 Falco, this is great because this is like your in-deck Sunlight Wolf for your main deck. It just recurs your spells and traps so nice for the late game. I resolved, I think it was Roar twice in 1 game because I was doing, I used Falco's effect to add it back and set it, so it was super nice. So that's all for the Salad lineup. It's a quite small lineup, but with the consistency cards you play in the deck, it's not as small as you think. We have Triple Flame Buffalo, the best normal summon in the deck. No explanation needed. You just Pot of Greed for Cyberse. It's conflicted whether our solid decks run this or not. I love Exceed just because if you're never even using the rank 4s or anything, you can just use the link material. And since it's Cyberse, it's so much synergy with the rest of your deck, and it's a chain blocker. I just don't know why you wouldn't run this card, especially in a meta where hand traps are a little weaker than they used to be with Tailwind running around and Sprite. So I think Parallel Exceed's a fantastic card. Then we got 2 Nibiru and 2 DD Crow. This deck is drawing a lot with Heat Soul. I'll get to that at the end because it's funny that came up. But Nibiru, you're always running this in Salamangreat because if you run into another Cyberse or especially Math Mech as the popular one, this is good against. You usually resolves. This usually is a game ender. This is a blow up, and then DD Crow is just good. Came up when I was playing the Dragon Link. I took away one of his targets to special summon and it just fizzled. It was so powerful, it just won me the game. And then I was saying this earlier, Ash could never do what Droll and Lockbird does.
Yo.
Droll and Lockbird in the main is one of the most power moves you can make right now. And it's so good because Ash is not very rewarding right now. You stop a draw, there's usually a follow-up with another draw or search. Droll and Lockbird make sure that doesn't happen. You can get the bait off. If you want a Pot of Extravagance me to bait it out, sure, go ahead. I'm gonna droll you, and then now you're gonna be like, oh wait. So it's just such a strong card. This is also a game ender in some ways. I'm glad it's back at 3, baby. The circle. Nothing much to say about this card. Just gets you your salad names. Didn't use the second effect once today, but
no one ever does.
No one ever does. So and the fact that you can use this in standby is really strong. To Will, another card.
Interesting.
Some people don't run a lot. So one of my biggest problems today was only having something like Flame Buffalo, and then I was playing the Dragon Link player. He bounced it back to hand. I was like, shoot, I had nothing else. But in situations like that, you really want to have Will of the Salamangreats to unbreak your hand a lot of times, because if you burn your normal summon, and if they like banish it or like remove it somehow instead of sending it to the grave, then you're in like a lot of trouble usually as a Salad player. So Will of the Salamangreats is nice, and its second effect is so good for the like, turn 3 and 4 when you can just send it and special summon up to the link rating. It's like a boot sector launch for the deck almost. And then we have, of course, the one Sanctuary, just a really, really good card.
Do you work on Sanctuary any time today?
Once. And I don't mind drawing it. It was just the fact that I couldn't chain block with Parallel Exceed. So it was just Parallel Exceed activating. I was like, oh wait, I have this in hand. I can't actually use it. 3 Signet. It's so crazy that one of the reasons I think this deck is like has over other Cyberse decks is you plus off Signet a lot of the time, or get advantage, not even necessarily plus. So a lot of your cards want to be in the graveyard or can special summon from the graveyard. So Signet mining is just a good thing for you, both adding and sending. And then we have 2 Desires. Would not play more than.
Ooh, you got the pretty Desires.
Yeah, I got the Spanish ones. Miles traded me these ones, but you gotta have the secrets.
Do you find yourself banishing Balinks or any of your one-ofs? Not Balinks.
You can't banish
Gazelle.
Gazelle? Not really. The only time it was really a problem was round 2, was where I Desires, then drew Desires, and then Desires again, and got to like 5 cards in grave. So I would never run more than 2, especially when you have Signet and Circle at 3. You never need it at 2, but it's really good when it comes up for just, you're drawing so much off this deck. Call by the Grave. Should not run this card. I said it last time. Same stands for this one. And the 2 traps. Roar is insane with Recursion, with Sunlight Wolf, and Falco. That's why I think you should definitely run Falco to recur this more than once. And the triple Imperm. So that is it for the main. This is one of the only weeks I'm running 40 cards even instead of like 41, 2, 3. I usually like to sprinkle the extra cards in there because a lot of the time I have a bunch of consistency cards. But today the 40 felt nice.
Only 7 hand traps? Well, I guess 10.
Yeah. What's the? Oh, in the Imperms, right? Yeah, like I said, hand traps are kind of slowing down this meta. I would have a Veiler in here, but I sided it for Parallel Exceed. I took it out just because I felt like the rank 4s I could make would be more game ending than like the hand traps, especially because Effect Veiler is a little more situational than Imperm. I was like, I'd rather just have a better strong going first, and then hopefully drawing one of my better hand traps that do a lot more than like Effect Veiler would.
Sure.
Onto the extra deck. Now, this is the funny thing. I was in a rush to make my deck, as I mentioned earlier. He told to not make the final cut.
What? Did you just forget?
Yes. I was like, wait, club's in like 30 minutes. I gotta get going. And so, to beware, I'll tell you which one you should cut. But Heat Soul did not make it in, unfortunately. But I still managed to make it work because Salamangreat has a lot of power without it still. 1 Almirage. This is one of the 2 options that I replaced the Heat Soul with because I forgot. I just filled it up a slot. I actually came in big today. I made a transcode talker that got negated, and it was kind of like a last-ditch effort to make access code. I was like, huh. So I managed to get the Almirage on field, and since I did this, I knew I wasn't going to get game with a transcode talker. So what I did is, I could have made access code with this and the transcode. That's what I'm saying is, but I couldn't get game, so I decided to leave this on field to make my trap live. Because I had Roar set, but only the transcode. I'm like, huh. I could either do non-lethal and then pass with no interruptions, or do some little bit of damage, send an Omni Negate, and then hopefully next turn that'll work. So this actually was nice because having a Salamangreat name you can bring out on the ease. Like, I brought it with Droll and Lockbird. I know when someone Droll and Lockbird made this, and I was like, yeah, this is just a super handy card. So I don't even know if I'd cut this. I might leave this in the final cut. Triple Balinks. I think the consistency is nice. Maybe cut it to 2. I didn't really use the 3rd one today at all, but I know there's situations where I would in the grind game, especially when you're only playing 1 Sanctuary.
How many people either ashed or impermed Balinks today?
Impermed, I think 2 or 3 times. So,
why do people do that?
I don't know. It's like don't ever ash this card. There's way better cards. Imperm or Effect Veiler. Don't do it. It's not good. You're gonna want to save it for like, especially if you're going second. Save it for like the transcode. Save it for like anything else. Like, just don't burn your negate on Phalanx. It's not that powerful of a card. This is a card maybe you want to consider burning your negate. This is your trap recursion essentially. The first deck's already fantastic where you can special summon one. That's great, but like the recursion, this plus Falco, you just get maximum. That's why you only need to run one of the traps, because this card exists. I'll leave this card for this. I'll pull it out now. This is another one of those spots that could be cut, but did come in big today. The
Scarecrow Tryhard.
Really just a nuisance card. I got life point advantage one game and
just sat on it.
I sat on this end of Baguska. So when the Baguska ran out, this was still an annoying pest. So eventually I did win that game. So it's a really good card.
He truly is Baguska at home.
He is Baguska. We have Baguska at home. Splash Mage, transcode, update, and access code. The very standard. This will win you 70% of your games you play. Just you make this and it's over, because if they only have one disruption, usually you can just kill them. It's like, oh, okay, I can just attack you for a game. That's why I think this deck is just pretty competitive against like those tier 2 rogue decks, because if you can just break through one of the two like disruptions, you can actually just destroy them on turn 2, which is a lot of decks actually can't like do lethal with it. One Mirage Dahlia, I didn't quite make this just because I'm still learning the intricacies of the deck and how to use Mirage Dahlia better. But I'm hoping to be able to use him more fluently more often. Tornado Dragon, one of my Parallel Exceed targets. Another one I could cut for the Decode Talker Heat Soul. We play a really back row heavy deck here, weekly here, so like it's just nice to have. And then Baguska. It's just if you're running Parallel Exceed, you're running Baguska most likely because it's a link deck and you don't get affected by it. So if I had to cut any of these, it'd probably be the Tornado Dragon, to be honest. A lot of times you don't need this. It's only great like turn 1, but it's hard. There's all three of those options, like the Almirage, the Tryhard, and the Tornado Dragon, are all useful in their own right. So it just really depends on what you need for your locals. And then for the sideboard, 3 Cyclones. Banishing, I know Miles isn't here. I expected him to be here, so like Eldritch Spell and Traps, I needed to banish instead of sending them to grave because all of his effects triggered. And I know we're playing, the Altergeist player was here today. I had the pleasure of going against him round 1 again. He's a really talented person. But I made sure to maximize with 2 more Twin Twisters and another Duster.
6 pieces of back row.
Usually it's a 4. Usually it's one place out of one of these and then the Duster. But I decided to go 6 today just because I knew it'd probably come up. And it did. I drew Duster today, and that worked out well. The only monster hand trap was the Divine Incarnate. I'm still experimenting with this card. I still really like it because when I do resolve it, it is really powerful. I haven't had the opportunity to do so because I only drew it one time today. And he only had one monster on field and didn't use its effect to negate, so I never got the chance to bring it out. I still won the game, but this card is really powerful when you do resolve it, so I'd just like to give it a try. This could be a flex spot for anything you need, really. And then I'd like to do this sort of thing where I do 2 Sanctum and a Scythe, a Trap Trick to bridge, and then 2 DD Ground. The Trap Trick is to choose whether I need the Scythe or the DD Ground, just depending on the matchup. Some decks don't care about the graveyard, so I'm just going to Sanctum. A lot of decks crumble to like a D-shifter, so like DD Ground is just a really solid option. Like I said, these are all like, you can do whatever you want with this side. It's just a really personal preference, but that's what I found to be most effective.
All right. Do you have any shout-outs?
Shout-outs to MSU Yu-Gi-Oh! As always.
All right. Thank you, Ethan.